I wish more would have been done.
Plausible deniability only works when it's plausible.
Plausible deniability. It is a term allowing high-ranking officials to deny any responsibility regarding illegal activities. The term was first hatched by the arrogance of Allen Dulles' 1960s CIA. Plausible deniability surrounded the JFK assassination.
Who killed John F. Kennedy? The commission answers unequivocally, Lee Harvey Oswald.
In 1953, they both took office. John Foster Dulles became Secretary of State. Allen Dulles became director of the CIA. It's the only time in history that siblings control the overt and the covert sides of American foreign policy.
And like the Dulles brothers who covertly got the United States into foreign entanglements worldwide, to put it mildly, the Biden brothers are using the very same terminology, plausible deniability, to protect their untouchable sellout scheme.
Mr. Biden! Hi, do you care to answer some questions? No. Just wondering, why did you involve Joe Biden in your China deal? Why did you and Hunter Biden want Joe Biden to meet with Tony B?
What are you talking about?
Are you Mr. Jim Biden? I wanted to ask you about the China deal. What about the plausible deniability? Did you tell Tony B plausible deniability?
I remember looking at Jim Biden and saying, how are you guys getting away with this? Like, aren't you concerned? And he looked at me and he laughed a little bit and said, plausible deniability. Very important. May 13th. That email was generated by somebody else to me. In that email, there's a statement where they go through the equity. Jim Biden's referenced as 10%, doesn't say Biden, it says Jim. And then it has 10% for the big guy held by H. I 1,000% sit here and know that the big guy is referencing Joe Biden. That's crystal clear to me because I lived it. I met with the former vice president in person multiple times, and I had been meeting and talking with Hunter Biden and Jim Biden and Rob Walker and James Gilliar. There was no other reason for me to be in that bar meeting Joe Biden than to discuss what I was doing with his family's name in the Chinese CFC.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg that this titanic corruption will slam into. As evidence surfaces, revealed amongst the leadership of the FBI to cover Joe Biden's tracks. You may ask, why would the FBI hang on to possible evidence incriminating the Bidens for over a year, only to mildly acknowledge the laptop and now a second laptop seized in February after that information was reported by independent sources? Well, new evidence points to multi-millionaire FBI Director Christopher Wray, who was previously an attorney with King and Spalding at the time when a deal was made between Hunter Biden, who was representing a Chinese company that was after a 14% stake in the multi-billion-dollar Russian oil company Rosneft. That company was represented by Christopher Wray's law firm, King and Spalding, essentially putting our FBI director on the other side of the table from the Biden crime family's enterprise.
They knew exactly what they were doing. They were dealing with a Chinese-owned, enterprise run by Chairman Yi, CFC, that had strong financial support and political support from the Chinese Communist Party. That's how it was presented to me. Over July 4th weekend, while we were celebrating our Independence Day, President Xi was in Moscow meeting Vladimir Putin on an official visit. And in that meeting and in that, multiple days, Director Zhang was in Moscow as participating in that. And Rosneft, or media in Russia, had leaked to the press that they were entertaining selling 14% of Rosneft, which is the state-owned, U.S.-sanctioned energy company of Russia, to CEFC. When I saw that leaked, you can imagine, once again, the clearance I held, the military background, I sort of pushed away from the table like, whoa, this is stair-stepping things at a level that, do I even want to be associated with, or do I even want to be near?
You have a link, a massive conflict of interest, obviously, at best, between the guy running the FBI and Hunter Biden, who are both on, presumably, one form or another, on opposite sides of the bargaining table, the bargaining process.
It seems routine at this point that the FBI has proceeded with an investigation into the Biden crime family for roughly a year, and yet the Mockingbird media still calls it Russian disinformation.
We should note Hunter Biden isn't running for president. That argument has been debunked.
I just think that if somebody comes out now and verifies the story, it blows up big time. That's all.
We've got this situation now where it's escalated again because somebody, or allegedly one of us three, has qualified the story, and already it's back on the front pages.
They're convinced in the call you just heard, and this was just taped not long ago, that if this story comes out, the media will verify it and it will blow up.
I get calls from my father to tell me that the New York Times is calling, but my old partner, Eric, who literally has done me harm for I don't know how long, is the one taking the calls because my father will not stop sending the calls to Eric. My best friend in business, Devin, has named me as a witness without telling me in a criminal case, and my father without telling me.
I'm only sitting here because they have not only have they not gone on record, they've denied it, and they've tarred my family name and a long history of serving this country, and have other congressmen out talking about Russian disinformation.
This whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin.
I'm not trying to cause any harm to anyone in this situation, right, let alone Rob Walker and his family, James Gilliar and his family. But basically, Rob's position was, if you go on record with all these facts, you'll bury all of us.
If he doesn't come out on record, I am providing the facts.
Tony, you're just going to just bury all of us, man.
The closer we get to Election Day, the deeper Joe Biden sinks into his hole.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
And the more the stench of corruption hangs in the air. John Bound reporting.
Now it's easier than ever to have Band.video on your iPhone. Simply go to Band.video with your Safari browser. Then you click the share button at the bottom of the screen. When the menu comes up, you simply click Add to Home Screen. It will then ask you to name the app. I suggest Band.video. You will now have Band.video app on your home screen, despite the fact that Tim Cook tried to stop it. The globalists think you're lazy, but by taking a little bit of action, you can override them, have the app, and then tell others about it so they can get the app. So it's up to you whether you want to defy big tech and click the share buttons below on your email, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, however you want. Be sure and share Band.video.
Cognitive dissonance is a major issue amongst the left. It can be very stressful dealing with facts you refuse to accept. If you have a family member suffering from this degenerative mental condition, buy them a bottle of Ultimate Fish Oil from InfoWarsStore.com. Studies have suggested that fish oils and fish oil supplementation can slightly lower blood pressure, decrease triglyceride levels, decrease the growth rate of plaque, and provide a soothing reduction in inflammatory responses in joints and the digestive system. Recent studies have suggested that high EPA and DHA fish oil can stimulate immune function by increasing the concentration and activity of immune cells. Get your Ultimate Fish Oil today.
There's a reason the globalists are fighting so hard to shut us down. They know the spirit of 1776, the spirit of the Renaissance, shines brightly from InfoWars. That spirit of fighting evil is growing stronger, not weaker under attack, because your will is strong. And make no mistake, this is a war of wills. InfoWars' main mission is to expose the globalist blueprint, rally humanity, and stop them dead in their tracks. As modern Paul reveres, it's critical for all Americans to do their part in the animating contest of liberty to expose darkness and promote freedom and a pro-human future everywhere we go. The quickening is here. We are now entering the crossroads, and InfoWars is rising to the challenge. InfoWars and our dedicated, committed crew is fighting harder than ever. We live in the most historical times ever seen in the history of our species. Everyone can see it, they can feel it, they can taste it. But now, it's all going to the next level. Evil is rising, and to challenge it, good is rising as well. The fact that you're awake, the fact that you're involved, the fact that you're engaged, even in the smallest way, is giant. It's massive. It's consciousness. Now, as the year 2020 dawns, we must redouble our efforts like never before in the fight to bring down the deep state and defeat the globalist anti-human system. But the only way our information gets out is when you spread it and when you support it by funding our operations, which are your operations, at InfoWarsStore.com.